Welcome to another episode. I'm excited for this one because I purchased this with my own money, and it's because I just recently got into sim racing and I started playing the Gran Turismo using the controller, but quite honestly, I think for $200 as well as my G923, which I also just picked up from Amazon, I think this is going to be one hell of a combination. So let's go ahead and start with an unboxing and see what's inside this baby. We've got two little fasteners over here. Let's go ahead and open that up. I'm like a kid during Christmas right now, opening up my brand new toy for the first time. This thing looks like it's almost put together. That's crazy. You know what? We're gonna make this easy for ourselves. There you go, that's way better. Okay, so we got some styrofoam. Let's get that out of the way. I think I already know what all this stuff is. So looks like we got some bolts along with Allen keys. And then these are the straps for underneath the chair, I think. And then you also have these straps here, which connect to the pedals and everything else. All right, so the manual here is pretty comprehensive. And if you've ever put together anything from IKEA, then I don't think this should be difficult because this looks like something of an IKEA build out. This is complete, so check this out. One thing I want to make sure that you guys know if you're going to purchase this, these straps here determine how far back the seat goes. So when I first sat in this, I think it was meant more for like somebody who's 4 foot tall because I was like literally over here. So you might want to adjust this when you first purchase it. So as you can see here, there are red stitchings. So what you want to do is you want to match the stitchings so they're both identical on both sides. So this way they're exactly straight and where they need to be. But otherwise, really comfortable posture. I can sit in this thing for hours. And I love the fact that this has a little rod that comes out. And this way, whenever this thing is open all the way along with the wheel, all the weight doesn't transfer to the left and make this thing tilt. So that's a really nice added benefit. But anyway, let's go ahead and get the wheel and clamp it on. I love the fact that this is so easy. It's almost effortless to clamp this thing on. The Playseat Challenge, as I mentioned before, is around $200 on Amazon at the moment. And I believe they have two different versions of it. One that has a little bit better construction. I believe that one's $50 more. And then they have the version that I purchased, and that's going for about $200 at the moment on Amazon. If you guys are interested in either, or you just want to do a little bit more research, I've included links down below. Now I want to talk about some of the positives as well as the negatives of the Playseat Challenge because there are quite a number of them. The first positive I want to talk about is something that's quite obvious. Number one, it comes in a very slim and small and sleek box. When you empty everything out of the box, it doesn't really take a lot of preparation and installation. I believe the installation took me somewhere around 20 or 30 minutes and everything bolted together very nicely. As a matter of fact, I don't remember having to screw anything in or using an Allen wrench or anything like that. Everything just went together easily, and it has a really nice fabric that's called ActiveFit. And this fabric is pretty breathable. And the great thing is that you can put a fan either behind you or on the side, and you can have a lot of air going towards your back, which is where you're going to be sweating most of the time when you're racing. The other thing that drew me to the Playseat Challenge is that it's able to be folded and put away. From going into the bedroom to bringing it to the living room, undoing the whole thing using the straps that it comes with, it literally takes anywhere between 30 to 45 seconds tops. That's one of the major benefits of having the Playseat Challenge. And then, of course, if you want to fold it back up, once again, it takes anywhere between 30 to 45 seconds to fold it back up and then to store it away. The seat itself is extremely comfortable. I sat in it for hours without having my wrist hurt or anything for that matter. It's a really comfortable seat. At first, you don't realize it, you don't really think about it, but when you're sitting in it for hours and hours, you start to realize that this is really well made and well designed. The Playseat Challenge offers several areas, so this way it can be adjusted not only for your height, but also for your body weight. What I found was that the lumbar support in the back can be adjusted, and I adjusted it so this way I can be comfortable playing for long durations of time. The straps on the side here where your elbows are going to be sitting can also be adjusted. There are lines on the straps where you can match on both sides, and I think I put mine in line number 4, but of course, depending on your height and your weight, you can always change that. And then of course your seat length. that can also be changed as well. And before I forget, Velcro strips are provided. These Velcro strips are provided so this way you can close the entire thing up once you're finished using it. And now I want to talk about some of the negatives because nothing is perfect, right? However, these negatives may or may not apply to you and it may be a completely perfect product. But everyone will find something that they don't like about a particular product, and these are some of the things that I found that I don't like about it. But anyway, if you own the Playseat Challenge, I'd like to find out some of the things that you like or perhaps dislike. Leave a comment down below. As I mentioned before, some of these negatives may or may not apply to you. However, when I was playing in sport mode in the online lobbies, as I was getting faster and faster and improving my lap times, I felt like I got to a point where I was outgrowing the Playseat Challenge. The major thing that I realized about this Playseat Challenge is that it had a ton of flex. If you're using the Logitech G923 like I was, the pedal on the G923 versus the G29 is very, very firm. As I was pressing on the brake pedal, it would lift the chair up off of its feet. And that resulted in inconsistent lap times after a while. And I found it to be really distracting when I was on a race. Because when you're in a race, you don't want to have to think about that kind of stuff. Because every single time you're pressing the brake pedal down, your seat lifts up and you get really distracted. The other thing I realized is that the angle of the pedal plate is not exactly at a good position. So normally you would want the pedal plate to be in this position, but because of the design of the Playseat Challenge, the pedal plate is usually in this position instead of here where it needs to be. And the last thing I want to talk about is probably something that's going to eventually be common amongst everybody. The last couple of points I talked about, I think they only affect me and not everyone else, but I think this negative point here could possibly affect everyone in the long run. Now you see, I was using the Playseat Challenge along with the Logitech G923. The Logitech G923 only has 2.3 Newton meters of force. So with 2.3 Newton meters of force, even though on the bottom of the wheel I tightened up the screw as tight as possible, what I would notice sometimes is that in the middle of a race, the steering wheel would come down to my stomach. And of course I would lose the race or my lap times would be ruined. This gave me a lot of anxiety when I was either in a race or when I was pulling in really good lap times, because I didn't know at what point the steering wheel was going to come down to my stomach once again. So when I took apart the screw, I noticed that the screw was pretty much shredded and it needed to be replaced. So my recommendation to Playseat is, if you're watching this, I would include a metal piece instead of the plastic one that you have right now, simply because the plastic one continues to wear away and it's going to deteriorate over time, making the Playseat Challenge completely unusable. So replacing it with a metal piece will probably solve the problem for a lot of people. So as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, there are a lot of reasons why you should purchase the Playseat Challenge. However, if you get to a point in your sim racing journey like I did, then using the Playseat Challenge is probably not something that you want to continuously use on a regular basis, because it does have its limitations. The Playseat Challenge is designed for a hobbyist, someone who probably plays maybe once or twice a week, or maybe a couple of times per month. But if you're a diehard GT7 fan and someone who wants to play to win consistently and wants to pull consistent lap times and doesn't want to have any anxiety about some of its shortcomings like I mentioned, then I would recommend something on the higher end side. So you might be asking now, what did I replace the Playseat Challenge with? Well, I replaced it with a Playseat Evolution chair, and that video is going to be coming up next. See you guys in the next episode. Thanks for watching.